Hey guys, thanks for tuning in with me on another Tea with Ange, and today I am here with Dr. ZOE Shaw. Yeah, she is pretty. It's kind of like a little bit of Hawaiian, a little bit of Asian. I don't know, but it's none of that. So
yeah, it's
she's
gumbo.
just beautiful. Dr. ZOE is a licensed psychotherapist and a life and relationship coach. And today she's going to talk with me about the balance of life and work and kids and
all
husband
of it,
and all that stuff and how she loves in all of those things. So here we go. Today we are at a new spot. We are all the way out in Lancaster, California. So still Southern California, but kind of in the more desert area of California.
Yeah.
This is right by her office, so she frequents this place often. It is called
Sagebrush Cafe.
and it is so cute. Okay, so we both have a drink. I did not, I don't like coffee, so I ended up with a blended, like white chocolate something, blended something that looks delicious. I'm gonna get my little straw thing off.
Mine already tasted.
What did you like?
It's a matcha green tea, which is my favorite. I'm in love with matcha. I put it in everything. I've already had a smoothie
Oh
today.
my
Is it
gosh.
good? This is super yummy.
This is like candy.
We won't talk about calories.
No, we don't need to talk about that. It's so good. 1 minute.
And mine is made with almond milk.
I forgot to say that.
Oh, you have regular? Can
Ew,
you drink that?
no.
Oh no. Are you gonna be okay?
I forgot to say that.
Are you lactose intolerant?
Yeah,
Oh,
I need to go switch it.
Yeah, you gotta switch it.
Shoot. Hold on, guys. Okay, I'm back. We're good. Everything's fine. I'm going to continue my drink and I'm going to live.
And she's gonna live, yeah.
I'm going to live. Okay. So, Zoe, Dr. Zoe, tell us about where you came from, like how you got to where you are as far as schooling and education and why you chose that field. And then just, kind of a little bit about your family, because I know where you come from family-wise, but tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah. So I'm from Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, originally from Nashville, Tennessee. And my mom studied psychology in undergrad, and she had us when we were really young. So
Okay.
she was in college when we were little, and I was probably 4. And I remember sitting in a psych class with her, and my mom used to always just talk about psychology and
Wow.
people. And so she really sparked my love for psychology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduated from school in Maryland then, or?
From high school. And from high school, I went to UCLA, and I was a track athlete there.
So you moved away from home to
Yeah,
California
Right.
on your own,
yeah,
and you did the big jump, the college thing.
I did. And got married,
Nice.
too. So I was 19 when I got married.
She was 19 when she
Yeah.
got married.
Did all that, ran track, and then after I graduated from UCLA, I went and got my master's degree.
Wait a minute, did you get married while you were in college?
Absolutely. In between my freshman and sophomore year.
Wow.
I've been married for 25 years.
She's
Is that
so-
crazy? Or
Can you see how young she is? She's been
25
married for
years.
25
Yes,
years doing
yes.
this thing, and you have 4 gorgeous kids.
5 altogether, but yeah.
5 altogether. Go into that somewhere. Did I miss that? 1,
Probably.
2.
Yeah. I have
1,
4 at
2,
home, 5 kids
3,
altogether.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so we have that. Cool. Okay, so tell me about schooling for you. Like, was it easy for you? Was it a challenge for you with being married? Did you have kids during that time?
Yeah, school, honestly, I never liked school. I knew I wanted to be a psychologist, and I knew that those were the hoops I had to jump through in order to be what I wanted to be. And so I just kind of barreled through. But I never really liked school.
Interesting.
And I had my second and third kids when I was in my doctorate.
Wow.
And that was tough. So it took me
Yeah.
6 years to finish my doctorate instead of 4 because I had 2 kids in the process.
2
Yeah.
kids getting a doctorate.
Mhm.
That's insane. All at UCLA.
Pepperdine is where I
Okay,
got my
UCLA
doctorate.
and Pepperdine. Very cool. Okay. Awesome. So how did you get into, let's talk about family life. I know you were in school in the beginning of your motherhood, but back then, how did you balance new wife life, motherhood, school, and building who you were in that? How did you do all that?
It was a balance, and I'll tell you a quick story. It might go a little longer than we intend.
That's
but
okay.
When I was having my son, and I was in grad school getting my doctorate, I had a professor, and she had 5 kids, maybe 6, I don't remember, but I just looked up to her. She was tenured, she was an author, researcher, and she had children, and I'm like, that's who I want to be. And I was getting ready to have my son, and back then we had to call in to get our classes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember that.
You had to call in to register.
Yes, I remember that.
And so I had my time that I had to call in, and I happened to be giving birth to my son at the exact time I had to call in to register. So a couple of hours later, I'm sitting in the hospital holding my newborn son, going, I need to call because I missed my call time.
Oh my
So I called, and it was too late. Like, all the classes were full. I couldn't get in. And I had already prepared like my childcare and everything around these classes. Well, I called one of the professors, that one, because I thought she'll understand. She's got 5 kids. She's done this whole thing. So I called her and I told her, listen, I literally just had my child. I gave birth. I missed the registration. I was wondering if you'd let me into the class, because I knew she could. She had the power to do that.
Right.
And she was like, no, I'm sorry. And she said, I'm trying to remember how she put it. She's like, I'm sorry you missed the registration, but I'm not letting you into my class. And she said, and just so you know, in the future, if you want to be successful in this field, don't ever use your children as an excuse for anything. Good luck. And she hung up. And I was like, I was so devastated.
Oh my gosh.
I remember thinking, I've already failed at this mom work life balance thing, and my son is like an hour old, and I was just crying. And so that was my first introduction to how are you going to balance this work life thing. And I kind of tossed it, and I kind of thought, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to just stay home and be a stay-at-home mom, because I can't do this thing.
And at that time, your kids were your priority. Like, motherhood was like your first priority.
Right. And that was my idea at the time. But reality is, you know, you get your degree, you've got, what are they called? Student loans.
Oh, those are no joke.
Yeah, all those kind of things. And life, and you have to get your postdoc, and it's not like it's just easy to just take off.
Yeah.
And so I started on the journey of being a mama and being, you know, a professional.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say you went from being at home as a mom to being a professional mom, a professional working mom, what did that look like in your home?
So when I started working, I started private practice after I got out of school. Okay. And I started doing part-time. So I was working part-time, home part-time, you know, full-time.
Right.
It's always full-time, right?
Full-time. There's no break.
There's no part-time being home. So I was working part-time and home full-time, and then I started homeschooling my children as well.
Okay.
Those years were interesting because I always felt like I was on the fence. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom and homeschooler, but yet I'm a professional, and I always felt like I didn't belong in either camp, because the stay-at-home moms didn't really see me as like them. The working professionals didn't really see me as like them. So it was a bit of a struggle. And I think I was more in just coasting in my career, because I was just focusing on my kids and just doing what I needed to do in my practice to maintain it. And then my daughter Sullivan, who has special needs, was born. It was very devastating, and I had so much that she needed so much from me. There really wasn't anybody else that could do for her. And so I sold my practice, stayed home for a couple of years, and then went back to work after a couple of years when things were better with her. Started my practice all over again. And then I got pregnant.
Where we are here.
Yeah, well, no. Then I got pregnant with Sigourney, my last son.
Yes.
And did the same thing. So I stopped working, stayed home for a couple of years, and then when she was 3, I started to feel like I want to go back. You know, I love my work.
Yeah. I just want to go back for a quick second, because I want to know what made you decide to homeschool and how you balanced homeschooling those, because I think you had 2 or 3 at the time. and you were still practicing.
Yes.
So how did you balance that, and what was your decision in homeschooling?
So I started with my son, who was the first one that I homeschooled. I heard about it. I knew some people that did it. I had family members that did it, and he was super bright.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to start out because when he was ready to go to kindergarten, academically he was way far beyond, but emotionally he was very much a kindergartner.
Right.
And I was not going to try to advance him.
Right.
But I felt that he could be served better at home. So I started, and it was really just 1 year at a time. Like, I'll just do it this year and then next year, and then before I know it, well, now it's been 17 years and I'm still homeschooling.
Yes, you are.
But I'm only down to 1 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way that I balanced it is we would get up early in the morning and we'd homeschool all day till about 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then I'd start work, and I'd work from 2, sometimes as late till 8 or 9.
It was working at home?
I was working at home then, yeah.
Okay.
So I had my office at home, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was keeping the kids when I was working, and I could come out and have dinner with them.
Wow.
I could come out and check homework. I could do all of that, so it worked.
So back
really
then,
well.
work was the podcasting like you do now, which I haven't told you about yet, or was that seeing clients?
It was only seeing clients one-on-one.
And you were seeing them at home, at your home?
In my home office, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So people came to your home office to
They
see you. Did
did.
you have a large clientele?
I did. I was working full-time.
Wow. The other thing she does is she's like a dog breeder. So she has
I
these
do.
adorable
I raise
dogs. Like
Labradoodles.
my little Amber came from her. So I got Amber from Zoe, and that's how we came to know each other. A mutual friend posted this beautiful golden mini Labradoodle, apricot color-ish, on Facebook, and I was like at the point in my life where I really wanted a dog for me and the kids, and long story short, it worked out, and now my dog is the dog that started with her. So how does a single mom balance passion, career, motherhood, all of that, and still give the attention to her kids that they need for growth and development, love and attention and security? How do we do that?
It is tough. And balance is, it's an okay word, but I think what we are really doing is we're constantly juggling. We're constantly juggling all the balls that we have to take care of, right? And I think the first thing that you always have to recognize is which balls you can continue to juggle and which balls are okay to put down. And then some balls are a necessity. You don't drop them.
Yeah.
And those balls are relationships.
Yes.
So as you're juggling all the stuff that you have to juggle, and you realize that if you're getting overwhelmed, if you just go back to, okay, which of these balls are relationships? Relationships with my kids, relationships with my spouse, my family. Those are the ones that you make sure that you don't drop. So the laundry, the dishes, the house, the whatever else needs to be done that's important.
Yeah.
And when you can juggle it all, do it. But when you can't, your priority needs to be the relationships.
The relationships are prioritized first. Okay, great. I love that.
Because the other thing we have to drop is our guilt.
Yes,
and the
that
guilt
was really hard for me.
Yeah,
It's still hard for me.
Hard
What are we talking
all
about?
of us. It's hard for all of us. When you drop the guilt and you recognize that you, number one, doing what you need to do for your family,
Mm-hmm.
and then number two, walking in your passion is what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And when you're doing that, you're as filled up as you can be, and you have more for your family. You guys have heard it, I know, but it's true.
Yeah.
And when you can release that guilt, then you actually have more to give them.
Yeah, I think for me it's been a real challenge because being single, I feel like I've always been trying to fill the gaps myself. I felt bad that their story wasn't what I wanted it to be, so I tried to give them more and more of my attention and put less attention on working my favorite idea of a job, or having a full-time job was like an absolute no-no to me because I didn't want to leave them all day. And the other thing I noticed too is now that my kids are older, I really thought that them being older meant I would spend way more time on my passion, way more time pursuing my careers, and I actually find myself even more concerned about being there for them because now they're in the teen and preteen stage, and they still need my time, and they need it. They need it even more now because they're going through these crazy changes emotionally, and I just don't want to miss anything. So now
Not to mention that you become an Uber too. Like
you're driving them everywhere, and you're not getting paid.
Right.
So I'm literally thinking to myself, okay, now that they're older, I'm like, well, they're going to be 18 in no time. Why would I start now, like missing out on stuff? So I'm kind of in a in a weird place of pursuing my path, my passion, which is this, and storytelling through the art of filmmaking and stuff like that. And all these things are actually coming to me now, and I have to juggle that now, you know, and my kids are used to me being around because we homeschool and because, you know, I've been there as much as I can through their lives. And it's been harder having these jobs and having to be on the go and stuff. It's harder for them. At least my daughter is really independent, but my son, you know, he's still very emotionally connected, which I appreciate. And my daughter is too, but in a very independent manner. So it has been hard to juggle these things. And I appreciate how you said prioritize a relationship. Definitely prioritize it. Keep it number one. But juggle everything else in the order you see fit. And I think you have to do that daily, moment by moment. So if but the day calls for...
Yeah, but juggling and prioritizing relationship doesn't mean that you have to quit work.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to stay home.
Yeah.
It just means that needs to be on the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
And when you release guilt and know that the work you're doing is necessary and it's good and it's going to be good for the kids too.
Yeah.
But the other thing is seasons. You have to recognize
oh my gosh, that's such a good point.
We do life through seasons. And even as I talk about how I've come into my practice and stopped my practice and come back, and now I'm in a whole new season of jumping off the couch and working with women, you know, all over the world and through my podcast and my writing.
Right.
It's because now is the right season for that.
Right.
And so you have to be able to evaluate your family, where you guys are in your season and where the space is and when the space is going to come. And sometimes it's a season of hunkering down, you know, and with your family. And then sometimes it's a season of, okay, I have more time and space to do what I need to do now.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that you talk about that because it really has been seasons for me. I mean, I was at home with my kids. Even after my divorce, I stayed home. And I was able to at the time because of where we were living. My financial circumstances at the time allowed me to be home without having to get a crazy job. Like I had a job that they could come with me to. And that was the season we were in then. And as times changed and we lived different places that were more expensive, you know, the situation had to change and my work situation had to change. And I have had to recognize the season. I remember you telling me that a while ago when I was really stressed out, really depressed. Zoe has been there through my ups and downs, and she's given me words of encouragement. She's listened to me just kind of vent at times, which I appreciate that. Thank you. Sure. I needed to not do that, but yeah, in those times, she always gave me like a word of wisdom. And I remember you telling me about, well, it's just a season you're in. And it was hard for me in the season to accept it as just a season. I wanted it to be different so badly. But to see the season we're in now, I'm like, yeah, you just kind of have to trust the process, trust the time you're in, and just go with the flow, but be intentional about it, which is kind of a contradiction, but I really believe that you can go with the flow and be intentional at the same time. So, is there anything that you would like to share with the viewers about anything as we wrap up, before I tell them where they can find you?
Yeah. If you have a passion, if there's something that you are burning to do and you feel stuck or you feel like, you know, your kids are too little or there's just too much going on, you don't have finances, start small. Assume that this is what you're going to do. Like you talked about faith. Determine this is where I'm going. So what are the small things? What are the little foundations that I can lay to get to where I'm going? Because it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey. And if you can start small and do little things, you'll find that you gain confidence, things get easier, doors will open, and you will be on your way, even if you're not jumping into it big time now.
I've seen that in my life.
And I've done that in my life too, because, you know, I'm a motivational speaker as well, and I've always known that I wanted to be a motivational speaker.
Yeah,
but I didn't have the ability then, or I was just in practice. My kids were little, but I would always take on little speaking engagements or do little things that I knew would put me in front of people so that I could get practice, because I was telling myself, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And that was a great foundation. I had a lot of experience, before I even got started because of those little things that I put myself in. And that was like at co-ops or, doing stuff for the kids or schools, something like that.
That's awesome.
So start small. You don't have to go big to get started.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Dr. Zoe can be found on every social medium that you can think of, just with Dr. Zoe Shaw.
Yes. Dr. Zoe Shaw on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Although I don't really do much of Twitter, but it's there.
Does anyone?
Right.
And then if you want to read her column, go to Grit.
Grit and Grace
Thank you.
Project online, and it's the Ask Dr. Zoe column. All my stuff is on Instagram, though. If you connect with me on Instagram, you
You'll
can
see all
find
that.
it all.
And the podcast, which is so great. And if you get on our email list, you get updates on there, which are so good. Let me tell you something. Dr. Zoe is one of the 2 or 3 people that I will actually click on their email, read what they say, and listen to whatever they attach as a podcast.
Awesome.
Because it is so good, and it's not long and drawn out. All of it is not entertaining, but informative in an entertainment way. So that's like, or entertaining way, where you're not bored. So, and you get a nugget every time. So a nugget or more. It's great. So I would definitely check that out. Of course, I will link everything in the description below. So, and contact her if you want. I guess, are you accepting new patients?
I do, yes.
Okay. So if you want to try
I
to
do
get in
virtual
touch,
therapy and life coaching, so it's really
Awesome.
cool. We can do it on any device.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, contact her for that. And thank you for doing this with us.
For sure.
This is
I
so
enjoyed
cool.
it.
I love this tea with Ange because I have a delicious drink. And this place is so cute. And I have Zoe, my friend, and the doctor. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Tea with Ange. Bye.
Bye.